What happened tonight in boxing? Oh man, did nobody see it coming? So, first off, we're going to start off talking about the beginning of the card. Young Japanese kid saying Naoya Inoue stuff about him, punches hard, yada yada. Looked like a regular guy. Didn't look like he had that much power. Fought a guy who was, strong and in shape, which is, not characteristic of always your like, pro debut kind of stuff. So the guy wasn't going anywhere unless you really made him go. So the guy's not that hard of a puncher, but it's his first pro fight. Decent fight though. Kind of got battered around a little bit again by just a game opponent, but not that great of a fight. Moving on to Teofimo Lopez versus Barbosa, which I actually didn't get to see all of. We're going to be watching that on Patreon if you guys want to check that out. Patreon has a 7-day free trial. After that, it's $10 to sign up, $10 a month. And there's, I do almost all of the post fight film studies and post them on Discord. The full fight, we'll watch them. We're going to be watching, obviously, Teofimo Lopez versus Barbosa. We're going to be watching, I think we're probably going to be watching Haney and Ramirez and Garcia versus Romero. We're definitely going to be talking about them right now, but there's not going to be any film study on YouTube just because these fights were just so bad. But I watched the first few rounds of Teofimo Lopez and versus Barbosa, and then I wound up like passing out. Nothing against him. The fight was pretty okay, but it'd been a long day for me. So, but Teofimo Lopez looked like he was kicking his butt. Scores were wide, easy fight to predict. Surprised Teo didn't go for the KO, but definitely going to be watching that one on Patreon and Discord. If you guys are looking for a coach, you're looking for someone to teach you how to fight, someone who's going to teach you how to get strong and in shape and do that stuff, and you won't need a coach after. You're not going to forget this stuff. It's not going to just magically go away. It's all the right ways of how it works. Okay, you want to check it out. It's $20 to sign up. If you get a year membership, it's only $13. That's $3 more than the Patreon. Plus, there's like 70 members in there, all trying to learn the Fouts boxing combat system. A bunch of people who I've been coaching for years who are pretty good at it. And tons of conversations. A lot of film study, and a lot of people posting their work. And then obviously me, the greatest coach ever, the original film study artist. But anyway, back to the fight. So we're going to be watching Teofimo Lopez versus Barbosa for sure. Pretty excited to see that one. Then, amazingly, this card broke records. 2 of the lowest output fights in the history of championship boxing. Wow, amazing. How does Devin Haney even have a welterweight ranking? That doesn't even make any sense. He has 2 welterweight rankings right now, which absolutely blows my mind. Did he win the fight? Yeah, he won the fight. Jose Carlos Ramirez showed that he couldn't cross the line and fight. He could only fight on the right side of the line. Very bladed. And Haney showed again, still no power. But interestingly enough, I thought there were a couple of times where he whacked Ramirez on the way in, and I thought he hurt him. I thought that he kind of dazed him again. I don't think that Ramirez takes punches very well because he doesn't have great balance. He doesn't have a good base. And I think he's like real heavy in his structure and his positioning and stuff. But it was just an easy fight for Haney. I don't want to say easy. It's really not easy to run and dance and duck and dive and like we're gonna be calling it. He fought with sugar in his tank tonight, right? He didn't really fight. He didn't go out there to win. He was landing. They landed like 70 punches. On average, 5 punches per round, something like that. How incredible. Rounds like that shouldn't even be won. They should be 10-10. Nobody won that round. No, there was no engagement. Nobody tried. I don't know what Carlos Ramirez was doing. Dude, what the hell? Dude, at least throw some goddamn punches. Like, do something. You just gave the fight away, But again, um, um, most obvious, right? The most obvious outcome was Devin Haney was going to just point him away, um, and be able to, the few times that Ramirez did catch him off guard and cut the ring off and do all the things, Devin Haney would just jump on top of him and hold him and grab him. Okay, it's a very, very popular strategy: duck below the waist and then grab and then spoil the fight. We have a clip here, real quick. I just wanted to share it. This is Gennady Golovkin against Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs trying to body up under him, and here he is coming up off the ground and coming with the right hand over the top. Again, Danny Jacobs wasn't able to do this to Golovkin. Again, getting under the jab, getting to that prime spot, trying to grab and hold, and then getting shoved here by Golovkin. But Ramirez didn't wrestle him. Bill Haney asked in the beginning of the fight, like in between the first round, how did he feel when you got a hold of him? Asking like if it was going to be easy to wrestle him. How did he feel if he was strong, basically? And then anytime that he was able to get Haney out of position, Haney just had to duck and grab, and there were just so few openers for Ramirez. He would often throw his leaping hook, and he would look like he was completely outfield. Just what is he doing over there? Just so far away. And yeah, again, called it in the training footage in the beginning of the fight, talking about how he has these very particular places that he has to put himself. It makes it very obvious when he's coming in. And a seasoned jabber like Devin Haney was going to be able to see and intercept him on the way in and disrupt his ability to chain things off, But we're probably going to watch that one on Patreon and Discord, but what just the stupidest fight, just so bad. Which brings us to Rolly Romero, shock of the century, Again, I was talking about it in the pre-fight build-up. The only thing that I didn't see in anything that Ryan Garcia was doing was explosive stuff. He really didn't do a lot of explosive stuff, and it kind of showed in this fight. They did a clip on Ryan Garcia, a day in the life or the training or whatever it was on the Ring, the Ring magazine channel. And it starts off with this little montage, like fade to black kind of thing. And it shows the only crazy, violent, athletic thing that you see in his whole training camp was making fun of Rolly. You guys remember that? When he makes fun of Rolly and he goes, but he actually was doing something there, like being very, it was a very high output. It's not easy to do that. But he just didn't have the courage, to let off. As you can see in the clip on the beginning of the screen here, Rolly caught him after he tried to step on the line and throw a hook. Ryan tried to get off the line, but he doesn't know how to get off the line. He doesn't know what to do with his weight, and Rolly just followed him back with the hook that caught him, and then he caught him here in the air when he's trying to get off the line, and then he follows up with another hook that he kind of blocks, but his footwork is already just jacked. He's already falling. He's already going down. And Ryan said he got caught too early. He didn't feel like this, but he just couldn't sneak up on Rolly. Rolly was just too explosive. He was just too ready himself. And again, he had a very, very, very low output fight in this fight, which, honestly, without the knockdown, there were some things that looked kind of good because at least he was throwing what people call power punches. Right? Ryan was throwing a lot of jabs, and getting credit for some jabs, but he wasn't really doing anything, trying to land anything. And when he would jump on the line, Rolly could just explode and just freak out. It was really dangerous, right? Ryan didn't have any ability to set any traps with any of his shots. He didn't know how to do it at that speed with any of his striking. And again, none of the guys that he works with are strikers, so they don't know how to tell him how to do it. Again, I'm a striker. I'm a better striker than Ryan Garcia. I can teach you guys. My guy Eddie is a better striker than Ryan Garcia. My guy Eddie would fuck Ryan Garcia up. He's got 2 amateur fights. Um, Again, he's incredible. Okay, I coached him, homegrown. Um, and yeah, in only not even that much time. Not very long together. We did like a camp, like a 6-month camp. Kinda. It was like not exactly that long, but we did like a 3-month camp. And then we've been like working on the weekends the last couple months. But there's a video of him on my channel sparring a pro, 12-1. I can't remember his name right now. And then you can watch his first amateur fights on my channel as well. But power puncher fast. And again, people don't know how to do the things that Ryan's doing, so they don't have a system to teach him how to do it correctly. Okay, again, check out the Discord. I do. But I think we're definitely going to watch this fight and talk about it on Patreon and Discord as well. But crazy. Ryan really doesn't try to score any points for the rest of the fight. Romero steals a bunch of body jabs, does at least take a chance. You never know if it's going to work until you grab her by the back of the head, right? I mean, until you throw a punch on the line, right? You just never know. And so there he is, checking the line, letting his hands go, and he scores. And Ryan doesn't. It's that simple. Rolly took the chances out there, to land punches. And crazy, where do we go from here? Because Devin Haney still has a higher welterweight ranking than Rolly Romero. Okay. The champion to both of the belts that Devin Haney has, or that Devin Haney has rankings for, are Jaron Ennis. So he's holding like 2 places in line, right? So getting him out of the way, excuse me, guys, would be like really good for the mandatory slots, right? Because it would satisfy 2 belts, right? If he's going to be taking mandatories instead of unifying, right? Because he's got Mario Barrios, right? Or he's got Brian Norman Jr., right? You know, but oh no, I think does Mario Barrios, is he the champion of one of them? Am I mistaken right here? But anyway, that would be a horrible fight to have to watch. Devin Haney versus Mario Barrios, right? Which is like, does Devin Haney want to take the risk of fighting? Because like, where do we go now, right? Is Ryan Garcia like gonna rebuild his image by beating Devin Haney up again? Would this Ryan Garcia have beaten Devin Haney? I'm not sure. He really didn't do that much. He did actually look bigger post weigh-in, than I thought than the media day. I guess he was pretty drained on that day then. Has to be. But there's no reason other than the rivalry and Ryan Garcia fans, like we'll have to like wait and look at the pay-per-view numbers and see what the numbers did. Because there's definitely still a market for Haney versus Ryan, but Haney, you're not gonna beat him. There's no shot. There's no shot you're gonna beat Jaron Ennis. There's an okay shot that he beats Virgil Hunter's guy Mario Barrios, right? Mario Barrios is like a shitty version of Devin Haney, right? He's like even more bladed, less athletic, less strong, loosey goosey kind of. Oh, he's like a little bit better version of Jose Carlos Ramirez, except that I don't think he has a hooks. I think he's more straight punch based, and he never even got on the line with Devin Haney. Didn't even get close. But nobody's going to want to see that again. Nobody's going to want to see that. probably the best thing that Mario Barrios can do is fight Haney and then hope for a trilogy and tie up the belts and then ruin Jaron Ennis's plans. Because Haney would never fight Jaron Ennis, right? I don't know how many times Jaron Ennis wants to make 54 or make 47, right? I'm not sure. He is like the next guy to get close to have to move up, you know. But why does Devin Haney have two welterweight rankings? Where did they come from? And like that doesn't even bring us to Rolly Romero. What the hell does he do? Right? I definitely don't think the best thing for him is him fighting the 17 and 0 Eastern European guy. I don't know if he's Eastern European. I think he is, but he's like young welterweight. He's ranked above Rolly and then right above Haney in the welterweight. I think it was the WBA. I think it was the WBA rankings. I don't think Rolly should fight that guy. I haven't seen that guy fight. Maybe it's a good fight for him. I want to say Rolly fought disciplined tonight, but like, they both basically fought scared. Rolly just said, well, fuck it. I'm going to try to win. And, Ryan didn't. Ryan didn't go out there and try to win the fight. But anyway, Rolly beats basically nearly unranked Ryan Garcia at welterweight, right? Has a decent welterweight ranking himself. Is he going to fight Jaron Ennis? Should he fight Devin Haney now? Everyone thinks that, the Ryan versus Devin Haney is like, a big deal or whatever. But like, honestly, I think Romero should try to fight Haney. I think that would be the best thing for him. They were just on a big card together. The negotiations would be easy. I'm not sure if Rolly. I don't think Haney would want to fight Rolly. I really don't think so. I really think the Mario Barrios path is going to be what happens with Haney, because it's the only way to keep him safe, and he can outpoint that guy and run. He can fight with all the sugar in his tank he wants, and no one's going to expect, Mario Barrios to be getting knocked out by Devin Haney because he's big, right? And nobody's going to be expecting Mario Barrios to knock Devin Haney out, right? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Rolly Romero is going to wind up doing because he didn't really, I want to say, like, he didn't beat a real guy, but unranked Ryan Garcia, this was kind of like a freak show, and it's crazy that, even at the end of it, when they read the scores, Rolly's like, put his fucking hands up. He's like, hey, what do you think? I know I wasn't supposed to win, like, but check this out. Hey, what do we do now? It was really weird. But, yeah, I think he should try to fight Haney. I think fighting that guy is a bad move. The Eastern European guy. Maybe he could get a fight with Jaron Ennis, right? Boots was trying to talk about, or Ryan Garcia was trying to talk about that it was going to be mandatory, right? If Ryan won here, that Jaron Ennis would be the next, How crazy would that be if Rolly Romero got the Jaron Ennis fight, right? Because, again, he's going to have to defend some of the belts. He's not going to be able to just sit on all of them. Not all of the sanctioning bodies are probably going to be cool with that because they also got deals with other people too, Now, I don't know that that's a good fight. Dude, Rolly Romero is not a good fight for anybody, dude. Having to fight Rolly Romero fucking sucks. It sucks. Because he's a beast. because he's a beast, and there's always this potential for him to just steal the fight. You know, again, he's still not min-maxing his training. He's definitely improving over time, definitely. He just, Rolly, I know you throw a lot of punches. I know you throw a lot of punches already, but you got to go to the gym and you got to throw more punches. Okay? Just keep grinding. And man, maybe he could win in a fight with Jaron Ennis. You know, Jaron Ennis will definitely get on the line with him, right? Definitely let his hands go. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure. I think, what does Ryan do from here? Obviously he wants to fight Devin Haney, right? I think that's like the best fight for him, getting that fight back. Um, as we just saw right there, though, Devin Haney is going to take his box rec more seriously than he's going to take the fight, right? He's going to take his box. So maybe we'll get a fight that Devin Haney runs and Devin Haney doesn't try to engage or knock Ryan Garcia out, you know? Now, I don't know if he's going to win like that exactly, right? But as we saw in this fight, and we're going to watch Ryan versus Rolly after. But Rolly didn't chase Ryan. Ryan didn't chase Rolly, right? Now, Ryan can't chase Rolly like he can chase Haney, but also like Ryan uses a lot of energy to be as explosive as he is, and he can't do that forever, and you don't have to be pressing Ryan if you circle him, again, stepping around your opponent and circling, very, very, very important. You can't just be challenging your opponent on the line every time, especially when you're Devin Haney, and like even if you land, it doesn't matter. Well, I do think it kind of mattered against Ramirez. I think he landed a couple of times when Ramirez was coming inside, and I think it stunned him, and I think it made Ramirez really not want to get on the line with him. And the thing is, though, I don't think Haney can tell when he hurts a guy because I think he just has to put all of his, and he just goes, and I don't think he has very good control of his body. Because a dude that jacked, man, he should be slicing through fools' heads. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, Rolly. I think Rolly should try to fight Haney. I think that Ryan Garcia should, man, honestly, he should try to get this fight back. He should try to get a rematch with Rolly. Or get that easy fight with Devin Haney. I mean, imagine, right? The circus clown. No offense, Rolly Romero. Yeah, I just beat the shit out of both of them, right? Back to back. He fights him, right? Embarrasses Ryan Garcia. Then he goes and he fights Devin Haney. These guys are like people who've been boxing their whole years. And he's like, nah, just do it. Right? Go in there, beat both of their asses. And again, it doesn't put his career in any jeopardy. Like he's not going to really get embarrassed by Devin Haney. Everybody knows Devin Haney's a stinker of a fight, right? And I'm not trying to say again that Rolly is not a real guy. Rolly can probably turn it up and be incredibly dangerous against someone who's so incredibly not dangerous like Devin Haney. But yeah, that might be, again, because he doesn't have the experience. He doesn't know what to do with all of his athleticism, until Ryan jumped on his line and then he was just like, But, I really don't think it would be a great fight for Devin Haney. But if he doesn't get the Barrios fight, there are no good fights for Devin Haney. He's not going to be beating Brian Norman Jr. He's not going to beat Jaron Ennis. Maybe, he could actually take a fight with Blair Cobbs, right? People would be interested in that. That guy's kind of a meme champion as well, right? And that guy has like, I mean, I think he's like almost top 10 somewhere. I think he was like 12 somewhere. But anyway, um, crazy night in boxing. Crazy night. Can't even believe it. Um, I mean, most of it, I guess, was expected, except the like most crazy one was Rolly Romero winning, but not by knockout. What the hell?